And so in 1995, mid-95, we realized we were going down the wrong path. Meanwhile, the Silicon Valley was packed with 3D graphics startups because it was the most exciting technology of that time. What added up eventually to 100 different startups we had to compete against. Everybody had chosen the right technology approach, and we chose the wrong one. The company was in trouble, and ultimately we had to make several decisions. Do we change and therefore be dead? Don't change and make this technology work somehow? Or go do something completely different? The second problem we had was our company was running out of money, and I was in a contract with Sega, and I owed them this game console. And if that contract would have been canceled, we'd be dead. We would have vaporized instantly. And so I went to Japan and I explained to the CEO of Sega, Iri Majiri, really great man. He was the former CEO of Honda USA, went back to Sega to run Sega, went back to Japan to run Sega. And I explained to him that I've got some bad news for you. And first, the technology that we promised you doesn't work. And second, we shouldn't finish your contract because we'd waste all your money and you would have something that doesn't work. And I recommend you find another partner to build your game console.
Whoa.
And so I'm terribly sorry that we've set you back in your product roadmap. And third, even though I'm asking you to let me out of the contract, I still need the money. Because if you didn't give me the money, we'd vaporize overnight. And I asked him to convert the last $5 million that they were going to complete the contract, to give us that money as an investment instead. And he said, but it's very likely your company will go out of business, even with my investment. And it was completely true. Back then, 1995, $5 million was a lot of money. It's a lot of money today. $5 million was a lot of money. And here's a pile of competitors doing it right. What are the chances that giving NVIDIA $5 million, that we would develop the right strategy, that he would get a return on that $5 million or even get it back? 0%. You do the math, it's 0%. I told him that if you invested that $5 million in us, it is most likely to be lost. He went off and thought about it for a couple of days and came back and said, we'll do it.
Wow. Did you have a strategy to how to correct what it was doing wrong? Did you explain that to him?
Oh man, wait until I tell you the rest of it. It's scary, even scarier.
Oh no.
And if he would have kept that the investment, I think it'd be worth probably about $1 trillion today. I know. But the moment we went public, they sold it. They goes, wow, that's a miracle. And so
wow.
They sold it. Yeah, they sold it at NVIDIA valuation about $300 million. That's our IPO valuation, $300 million.
Wow.
And so anyhow, I was incredibly grateful. And then now we had to figure out what to do, because we still were doing the wrong strategy, wrong technology. So unfortunately, we had to lay off most of the company. We shrunk the company all back. All the people working on the game console, we had to shrink it all back. And then somebody told me that, but Jensen, we've never built it this way before. We've never built it the right way before. We've only known how to build it the wrong way. So I went down to the store. I had $200 in my pocket, and I bought 3 textbooks, the only 3 they had, $60 a piece. I bought the 3 textbooks. I brought it back and I gave one to each one of the architects, and I said, read that and let's go save the company. And so
wow.
they read this textbook, learned from the giant at the time, Silicon Graphics, about how to do 3D graphics. But the thing that was amazing, and what makes NVIDIA special today, is that the people that are there are able to start from first principles, learn best known art, but re-implement it in a way that's never been done before. And because we reinvented a whole bunch of stuff, it supercharged the capability of that one little chip. And our one little chip was generating images as fast as a $1 million image generator. That was the big breakthrough. We took $1 million thing and we put it into the graphics card that you now put into your gaming PC. And instead of building a 3D graphics chip for every 3D graphics application, we decided to build a 3D graphics chip for one application. We bet the farm on video games. The needs of video games are very different than the needs for CAD, needs for flight simulators. They're related but not the same. And so we narrowly focused our problem statement so I could reject all of the other complexities, and we shrunk it down into this one little focus, and then we supercharged it for gamers. And the second thing that we did was we created a whole ecosystem of working with game developers and getting their games ported and adapted to our silicon so that we could turn essentially what is a technology business into a platform business, into a game platform business. So GeForce is really, today it's also the most advanced 3D graphics technology in the world. But a long time ago, GeForce is really the game console inside your PC. It runs Windows, it runs Excel, it runs PowerPoint, of course. Those are easy things. But its fundamental purpose was simply to turn your PC into a game console. So we were the first technology company to build all of this incredible technology in service of one audience, gamers. And so we did the math. There was no chance NVIDIA was going to survive it. We didn't have that much time to tape out a chip, send it to a foundry, TSMC, get the silicon back, test it, send it back out again. There was no shot, no hope. And so the math, the spreadsheet doesn't allow us to do that. And so I heard about this company, and this company built this machine. And this machine is an emulator. You could take your design, all of the software that describes the chip, and you could put it into this machine, and this machine will pretend it's our chip. So I don't have to send it to the fab, wait until the fab sends it back, test. I could have this machine pretend it's our chip, and I could put all of the software on top of this machine called an emulator and test all of the software on this pretend chip, and I could fix it all before I send it to the fab.
Whoa.
And if I could do that, when I send it to the fab, it should work. Nobody knows, but it should work. And so we came to the conclusion that let's take half of the money we had left in the bank. At the time, it was about $1 million. Take half of that money and go buy this machine. So instead of keeping the money to stay alive, I took half of the money to go buy this machine. Well, I called this guy up. The company's called ICOS. Called this company up and I said, hey, listen, I heard about this machine. I'd like to buy one. And they go, that's terrific, but we're out of business. I said, what? You're out of business? He goes, yeah, we had no customers. And I said, wait, hang on. So you never made the machine? They said, no, we made the machine. We have one in inventory if you want it, but we're out of business. So I bought one out of inventory. Okay. After I bought it, they went out of business.
Wow.
I bought it out of inventory. And on this machine, we put NVIDIA's chip into it, and we tested all of the software on top. And at this point, we were on fumes. But we convinced ourselves that chip is going to be great. And so I had to call some other gentleman. So I called TSMC. And I told TSMC that, listen, TSMC is the world's largest foundry today. At the time, they were just a few $100 million large. Tiny little company. And I explained to them what we were doing. And I explained to him, I told him I had a lot of customers. I had one, Diamond Multimedia. Probably one of the companies you bought the graphics card from back in the old days. And I said, we have a lot of customers and the band's really great. And we're going to tape out a chip to you. And I like to go directly to production because I know it works. And they said, nobody has ever done that before. Nobody has ever taped out a chip that worked the first time. And nobody starts out production without looking at it. But I knew that if I didn't start the production, I'd be out of business anyways. And if I could start the production, I might have a chance. And as we were starting the production, Morris flew to the United States, and he didn't so many words ask me so, but he asked me a whole lot of questions that was trying to tease out, do I have any money? But he didn't directly ask me that, And so the truth is that we didn't have all the money, but we had a strong PO from the customer. And if it didn't work, some wafers would have been lost. I'm not exactly sure what would have happened, but we would have come short. It would have been rough. But they supported us with all of that risk involved. We launched this chip. Turns out to have been completely revolutionary. Knocked the ball out of the park. We became the fastest growing technology company in history to go from 0 to $1 billion.
So wild that you didn't test the chip.
I know. Well, we tested afterwards. Yeah, we tested afterwards.
Afterwards, but he went into production already.
But by the way, that methodology that we developed to save the company is used throughout the world today.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we changed the whole world's methodology of designing chips, the whole world's rhythm of designing chips. We changed everything.
It's a really incredible origin story. It's amazing. Like, you must be like, look back.
With a disaster is what.
That $5 million, that pivot with that conversation with that gentleman, if he did not agree to that, if he did not like you, what would the world look like today? That's crazy.